Be live in a second. Now you're live.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Sanetha. Welcome to Doves for Peace today on Wednesday here in Canada.
Welcome to Doves for Peace today on Wednesday.
Here in Calgary, Alberta. It is daytime still here, and I'm wondering if there's anybody that's watching that is in the daylight time.
I'm wondering if there's anybody that's watching that is in the daylight time.
I'd like to see also those, if you're from England or Scotland or Ireland. It is nighttime there now, and I'd like to hear from you as well. This is my very first live stream with Doves for Peace, and I have many recordings that are not live. So this is different for me, so I'm really hoping
that are not live.
That I'm really hoping that this goes really well, and if there's any problems, please join in the chat room and let us know. So many of you are probably wondering who I am, and that's been the question of my lifetime, and probably many of your lifetimes as well. Who am I? Where did I come from, and why am I here? And I believe those particular questions, which have been on the minds of everyone since the very beginning, are those questions that have been on your mind as well. And that's why you're watching this live broadcast today. And while I was asking those questions throughout my lifetime, it started as a very young girl. I feel my emotions already starting to surface, so bear with me as these memories surface, and as yours do as well. They bring many emotions to our hearts. As a little girl, my mother was in a body cast many times. As a matter of fact, she slipped on a wet floor in the doctor's office when she was pregnant with me. And from that day on, she spent her entire life in and out of the orthopedic surgeon offices getting, she had a pin in one hip, she had a plastic hip, she also had a plastic knee, and I like to call her the bionic woman. And she might not have been strong in body, but she was strong in her heart and everything that she gave to me and all those that were around her. So as a little girl, I would walk down the street, and I was very young, walking alone, as my mother wasn't able to chase after me. And I remember the road being a dirt road and dusty, and I was in search of God, and I had no idea where I could find him. I needed to find him in a very desperate measure, as I needed help to help my mother. Because as a little girl, I didn't understand why she couldn't move. She was in a body cast up to her neck. And I was the middle child. There was, I think, 4 of us born at the time, and we ended up with 5. So I wasn't quite the middle child yet, but I was like 4.5 years old walking down this road looking for God. And I couldn't understand where he was. So I searched and I searched. And every time I went home, I failed. I thought I failed. I couldn't find God. I couldn't bring God to help my mother. But here's the good news. I was God. God was in me. And that's why I couldn't see him. I could feel him. I could hear him. But I didn't understand that as a young child. As a matter of fact, I didn't understand that for years and years and years to come. There's some times in our life, and in fact, every single day, when we're given messages, and many of us are are not aware of these messages, because many of us are maybe not awake. And many of us who are awake still can't hear the messages because we don't understand that we are being given messages. So as the years went by, and I continued to search, because when you start to ask a question, you know that one question leads into another question. And without a question, there are absolutely no answers. So be very grateful for the questions and know that you are onto something whenever you have a question. So use your heart to find your way, to find God who is within. God is with us all the time. You have been created by God, the Creator. You are a creator. You are a God spark. You have gifts and abilities so unimaginable that as we move into the next few months, the coming years, you will understand that you can access these gifts and abilities with ease. But I will tell you, there is work to do. All of us always have work to do to access this information. But let me start off by talking about the subject, who am I? And where did I come from? And why am I here? And many of you are constantly asking those questions. And you have come to the right place to reach out to Doves for Peace, who gratefully, Reverend Brother Sean has found me so that I can have a voice, so I can speak my truth, so I can tell the masses, the more people, the messages that have been in me, that I have delivered not just in this lifetime, but many lifetimes. And as I was writing the book, and I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the book, The Kingdom of Heaven, within the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit, ironically, has a dove on the cover, and the dove is delivering the message to the earth. I'll try to raise that up a bit. You can see this book at my website, SANETHA.com, SANETHA.com. But this book was given to me, the writing of the book, this information, with my guides and angels' help. I'm going to tell you a story about how I ended up writing a book, not ever thinking I would ever write a book, having no writing experience in this lifetime, and finding other written materials that I had written in other lifetimes. I write about many of my lifetimes in the book, and the book is very deep and mysterious, has hidden codes within it, not just for me. I have read it 18 times, and each time that I read it, I receive yet another healing, a very deep healing. So I do want to tell you, if you download the book or you order the book, this book is not a one-time read, as there is so much deep information there that you can only absorb as much as your physical body, spiritual body, emotional and mental bodies can allow for you at that time. As it does when I do healings, my SOULGENIC healings, whatever is appropriate for you when you are receiving a healing is the healing that you will receive. Sometimes we ask for healings that we're not ready for to receive because we haven't learned the lesson as of yet. So I would like to take this time and just read the introduction to the book, parts of the introduction. Uh, the book has many biblical quotes from the Christian Bible, and I do want to explain that I have no religious ties. I was raised in a family that did not have a religion, so to speak. My parents, they came from Holland, and my father's family sponsored him to come to Canada. And it was a Dutch families, and they are the Dutch Christian Reformed families. And my dad was a rebel. They had been in the war in Holland, and my father was in the underground and saved Americans from Germans by putting them in his boat and hiding them, using the German flag and getting them from place to place. And my father, and I write about him in the book, he did not believe in God. He didn't believe in anything, and this bothered me a lot. And as a little girl, as I was seeking God, I would find different churches and walk into them and listen to the speakings and how they were so different and unique. And of course, I was confused. And I did get married in a church, and I had 3 children that were baptized in a church. And only because I knew that it was better to do this than not to do anything, and I felt very comfortable that this was going to help them throughout their lives. Little did I know that everything has been planned. The divine grand plan has been laid out before us, and as these years have gone by, you will soon find out that reincarnation and past lives and DNA play a great role in what we have planned from lifetime to lifetime. But later on in the book, you'll find out that the war is over, and karma only exists for those who wish to continue to play that role. But in order to be rid of karma, there is much work to be done. So thank you again for listening, and I'm going to do a little bit of reading, and I'll probably be back and forth till I feel a little more comfortable with where I'm going with all of this. So thank you for your patience. So the introduction is called "The Time Is Now," and it starts with the quote from Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. I've always known about past lives and believed in reincarnation. I've experienced many times feelings of having been here before. I had no real interest in anything past that knowing until that one day when I discovered my name in my previous life. I reincarnated less than 5 months after leaving that life into this one. Reincarnation makes perfect sense, and as you read this book, many unexplained mysteries will become aha revelations. Reincarnation and past lives bring an entire new set of variables, especially when there has been little or no experience of the widespread independence that suddenly surrounds the seeker. Freedom often means that the old logic, the old lifestyle, most of the knowledge and assumptions, simply obvious before, no longer work. A new set of variables, priorities, even values come into play, whether you are ready for them or not. It is our human nature to recreate or reinvent whenever we are trying to make something work better. And that's exactly what we do when we reincarnate into our next life. Now to him that is of power, this is from Romans 16:25, the King James Version. Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began. This is the shocking and controversial truth. Most religions don't believe, and science can't prove it yet. It is time to read between the lines and time to see the world with a new set of eyes. No more secrets, not even from you. And then Daniel 12, 1-4 says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation." Even to the same time, and that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Unquote. An awakening human race is ready to know the truth. Although some truths we learn may be difficult, even painful to acknowledge, important beliefs we were initially taught since childhood are disintegrating, ending one by one. And as many know John 8:32, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Some people built their entire lives around false beliefs. The ones learned from families they grew up with, or the ones they learned from institutions like our school systems, military, governments, certain spiritual teachings, and religions. We learn to live by certain principles based upon those beliefs, and we often hold on to them long after they are useful. The familiarity, sense of belonging, and illusion of safety these beliefs provide a cherished comfort zone. And Corinthians says, "But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory, which none of the princes in this world knew, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man, the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of a man which is in him?" See, it's in him. "Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of God, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of God. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judge of no man. For who hath known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ." The Bible, as well as other religious spiritual texts, have provided insights based on how the information was presented. We know that most of the writings have been altered time and again, disintegrating the original message, changing the energy, leaving only hints of truth barely recognizable to the human eye. The Bible quotes in this book have been taken from the King James Version, an older version of the Bible text. Yet this version is not the original biblical text written so many lifetimes ago. It is my intent that the quotes that are only pieces of the truth be received only as a doorway to a bigger truth. Many people do not like change. Change takes you out of your comfort zone. Truth is not always welcome, and it is often met with a great resistance, even hostility and hatred in particular. Beliefs affiliated with the major world religions have been the underlying reasons that instigated and continue to instigate brutal wars, horrific genocide, and murderous crusades that sadly even persist to this day in certain areas of the world. Not all for nothing. There is a reason for everything. Good, bad, love, and hate. We need to experience pain and suffering and sorrow to know joy and love happiness. We have evolved onto a new earth. The new energy, the frequencies that are available offer paradise on earth for those who seek their truth. Since the days of Adam and Eve, when they ate the fruit from the tree of life, all of us have lived lifetimes hidden behind a veil, not knowing who we are or where we came from. We are with the understanding of our own burdens deep within our consciousness, the identification of the heavy baggage that blocks our spiritual identity. We are risking reaching out for that freedom, taking responsibility of free will, risking crossing unknown boundaries and breaking down walls, walking down the back roads and the discomfort that can come from new beginnings, and venturing into a world with a deep belief in the promise of a better world. Do you have the willingness to hear new things and invite new wisdom to prepare the way to the kingdom of heaven within the holy book of the great invisible spirit? As long as we fail to acknowledge our vision of reality, our truth will remain incomplete. Spiritual growth is the process of venturing beyond one's boundaries into unfamiliar territory, where the deeper truth can only be known out of an encounter with the unknown. There are no mistakes. We are all individuals coming to the table with various stories, baggage, and different agendas. If we remain open and allow in our minds and hearts for the stranger that would deepen our understanding and broaden our sight, we will celebrate in unity with our Creator God and all that is, till all of us find our way home. It is my purpose and has been my sole purpose since the beginning, as I was appointed to bring the knowledge of and the ability to have paradise or heaven on earth. We all have a divine purpose and a divine plan, one with our Creator. We are here together at this exact point in time to help each other learn, understand, and unravel the mysteries of life and discover our spiritual selves. There is a reason why it is now. So that's the end of the introduction, and I know listening to reading can be long and tedious, and I hope that that meant something to somebody who's listening here today. So I want to talk a little bit, if you have any questions, certainly pop up into the chat room and type them out, and I'm hoping that I'm going to see them when you do, and I'd like to know who's out there. But let's talk a little bit more about how I became Sanetha. Sanetha is not my birth name. Sanetha is the name that was given to me during the writing of the book. And it was about halfway through the book that the guides and angels came and gave me that name, and I knew right away what that name represented. And had they given it to me at the beginning of the book, or any time before that point, and they know, of course, they're with you all the time, that I would not have understood, because while I was writing the book, I was uncovering many of my past lives through the process, the journey, which we each of us has, and many of us have been on this journey together, and in different places and time, and male or female, and so on and so forth. So Sanetha, if you read the book, and you may uncover some of my lifetimes, they are kind of mysterious, and some will pick up on them and some won't. And it's not even important for everybody to know who I was and why I was those previous lifetimes. I understand them all, and what the important thing is that you understand that you too have many lifetimes, that you are, some of you actually may be here on earth for the very first time, because not everybody, not all souls incarnate onto earth. And you'll hear more about that in the book. The book is full of information and that's needed for the earth at this time. So has anybody got any questions up until this point that you would like to ask me about my personal life? I can tell you that I am married for over 40 years now, and to a wonderful man I write about in the front of the book that has been my rock, probably in many, many lifetimes, who has supported what has happened here and has been witness to, and for a very good reason. I told him at the beginning that without him, I was going nowhere and I was doing nothing. So they made sure that he got on that spiritual path, and there were some tricky places along the way. I like to also say that I have 3 children, 2 which reside on this side of the veil in physical form, and I have a son who resides on the other side of the veil. And when I say the other side of the veil is thinning. My son, my oldest son, Michael, has transitioned and became my newest spirit guide just a little more than 3 years ago. And he has twin babies, a boy and a girl. And my daughter, who's in the middle, has a son. I have a grandson who is 15 years old now, and the twins are now almost 4 years old. And they live in Ontario, Canada. And then I have a younger son who has no children, so I have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. And it was very difficult at first to talk about when somebody asked me the very first time after I lost my son in the physical, which you never get over. It's, knowing what I know, and my spiritual strength has certainly got me through, and yet it's very difficult. Every single day, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him. In fact, he makes it very difficult to ever forget about him, because he is my spirit guide and helps me. He helped me finish writing the book, which I was only halfway through it when this tragedy did happen. So I married my husband at a very young age. As you can see, I'm still young. So having married over 40 years, I must have been, 5? Yeah, something a little bit older than 5, I think. About the time I was walking down the road looking for God to help my mother, who was in a body cast, is about the same time. No, just kidding. It was years later that I spotted him. And he has been amazing through this journey. I'll never forget when I came home the day and sat him down and thought, there's a lot of things that we share with our loved ones and our spouses. And sometimes there's a lot of things that we don't share, we choose not to share. And this particular item I felt was extremely important. And I had to do a lot of meditating to come to terms with, will he leave me based on the information that he's about to discover? Or will he support me, or what will the reaction be? I had previously become, just before this happened, before I discovered who I was in my previous life, less than 5 months between lives. And, if you do the math, there is not, that wasn't 9 months. So you'll have to come to some terms that yes, we can enter the womb anytime during the 9 months. And my mother was full term. And so all these things were coming to play and had me digging deeper and deeper. So along the way, we moved to Connecticut, out of Canada to Connecticut. And I did not know what I was supposed to do with myself. I had been seeing all sorts of things happen all over the world. And I wondered what it was that I was sitting there with nothing to do. I was trying to make friends. I'd go grocery shopping, try to make conversation with the people there. I do write about it in my book as well, as you'll read about the Stepford wives in Connecticut and that they do exist. In fact, I think the Stepford wives and many other people have the same thing going on. I call that sleeping. They just haven't woke up yet. So I'm here to wake you up. I'm here to get you to help others wake up. I'm here to deliver this message, this powerful message that I had no idea that I would be standing here today on this live stream that invited by the amazing Brother Sean, who has created this place for you to reach into and access information that you may be seeking for. So sitting in Connecticut thinking, well, I don't have a working visa, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to watch soaps all day. That, to me, felt like I could end up crawling into a hole and never getting out of it again. And I had too much to live for, so I started researching about things that I could do without having a working visa. And then it dawned on me, oh, I can check into healing, because I'm pretty sure healing is universal. It doesn't matter where you live to become a healer. So that was the universe letting me know, opening up the door for me to discover my healing gifts. So I had been on the internet. My guides tell me 25 hours a day, and they are accurate, I'm afraid to say. 25 hours a day, I was researching healing modalities. So I searched, of course, the long living Reiki. I researched quantum touch. I researched just about anything you can imagine. And then suddenly I was reading Deepak Chopra, who was talking about Dr. Eric Pearl and reconnective healing. Has anybody out there heard of reconnective healing? I'd like to hear from you, or if you're a reconnective healer. Living in Vernon, Connecticut, I decided to get on the internet, and I immediately ordered his book, The Reconnection, and it is a very powerful book. If anybody is interested in healing, I urge you to order that book. After, of course, you read mine. No, I'm just kidding. But Dr. Eric Pearl has 2 books now, and I ordered the book and immediately signed on for level 1, level 2, level 3 reconnective healing in Rhode Island. And this was the month of January, and the healing training wasn't until June. But I was reading the book, and during that time, my mother decided to transition. Sorry. I always say to myself, like, get over it, girl. I am fine with it. But I am very close to my mother, my father, and my son, who, when you think mother, father, son, have transitioned. And, what is that awareness? They have given me so much information about why things had to be. But before I even became trained as a reconnective healing practitioner, I was called to go home to Ontario to be by my mother's side, and I found myself doing healing and others in the room feeling the energy of that healing, and me not even understanding and knowing what I was doing. I just thought, I'm going to try it. It was odd that my mother, who had been on many heavy medications, and the whole family had been called to be by her side. She was in a nursing home, and she had caught a virus, and she was like 70 pounds at this time. And she had lost her love of her life just a few years before that, and lost her will to live, as we do when we lose loved ones. But if you understood that there is so much will to live that you need, if you can connect to your loved ones and be assistance to them, that they can be assistance to you, you might just be saved from going into depression and illness. But we do choose everything. So having said that, I did a little healing, and there was one time that I was with my mother for 36 hours straight without having any sleep during this process. 5 sisters, as I said, we were all there, and because there had been a virus in the nursing home, one sister got ill from the virus and was not allowed back in. The youngest sister, has a daughter who had anorexia at the time, and she was needed to be there. Then another sister was in deep depression and in her motel room grieving, while another sister, the 4th sister, who flew in, just simply could not deal with it anymore and flew back to where she came from, leaving me. And I was honored to do the job, and 36 hours straight. I was so upset with the people in the nursing home who had not checked on my mother the entire 36 hours that I had been there. And I started going deep within, as you can imagine, and they gave me a vision, and they presented, this is beautiful, to be on Doves for Peace, because what they showed me that day when I closed my eyes and in prayer and asked them, please do not let her suffer. Why don't you let her go? She doesn't want to be here anymore, so let her go. And suddenly I saw a bird flying towards me. And then I saw 3 or 4 flying towards me. And then I saw a full sky of these birds, beautiful birds flying towards me. And it felt so serene, so beautiful. But I had no idea what it meant until later a friend of mine said, do you know what kind of bird that was? And I said, I think it might have been a dove. I Googled flying dove, and behold, I was so amazed to see that these were the birds that were flying towards me. And she said, peace is coming to you. So isn't that ironic? Here I am telling you on a show called Doves for Peace that there are no mistakes and there are no coincidences, that I'm standing here telling you that on that show today. That is so important for you to know at this moment in time. Doves for Peace. Because the doves come to us to show us that peace is coming. And that is really good news for right now, because as you see all around the world, everything that has taken place, please do not go into fear. Everything is as it should be. You can only use love to conquer this. It is how you react that will take you down your path. So if you act in anger and hate and revenge, that just drives a vicious circle We must end this. And we end this by love, unconditional love. I do want to tell you a little story about when you are on your path. And I'm sure many of you have been on this path for a very long time. Am I right? And maybe some of you are just getting on the path, or you're seeking information right now. But wherever you are on this path, you're exactly where you need to be. And if you're listening to this, if this resonates with you, you were ready for this. So when you're walking along your path and you stumble upon an object, a place, a thing, a person, and you're just not too sure, in fact, you're really scared, or you're like worried, or no way, I'm not going there. No, I don't want to talk to that person. This is when you need to take awareness of why. Why are you reacting in a way that will have you turned around, will have you going around, running backwards? Now is the time to stand up and face your fears so that you can eliminate all fear. So pick up the piece off your path and put it in your pocket and move along, and then find a place, a quiet, beautiful spot where you can sit and meditate and take all your pieces and take them out of your pocket. I like to call them threads, and weave them together and make some sense out of it, because you will. You will. That person that has annoyed you, the person that you wish had never existed on this planet, the place that you said you never wanted to go because there was something there that you were afraid of. And for me, it was Salem, Massachusetts. I write about it in the book, and I can tell you that if there's some place that you are afraid to go, you will find a piece of yourself by going there. Remove the fear, walk through the door. And if you can't quite walk into the door, through it, at least open it. Take a peek inside, and you will find something. And even if you don't recognize it at first, just put it in your pocket. It will all work out for you. I do want to know if you have any questions. Please go into the chat room and send me a note. If you have been asking me questions, I'm not seeing them. I'm hoping that, oh, wait a minute. There is some chat going on. Okay. I'm sorry. I guess, well, this being new to me, I'm not sure who was the first person. So we heard from Hancock. Yes, no mistakes. All is as it should be. So right. Absolutely. And Brother Sean is recommending my book. So I guess you're all probably reading this as well. And Hancock says, I'm glad you've been healed. Yes, Sanetha is inspirational. And thank you for saying that it's a pleasure to be here. Working too hard, plus health issues which are being healed. Thank God. Sanetha is, well, thank you. Great speaker. Feeling frazzled? However, you're still smiling. Starlight, that's from Starlight. So if there's anything I can help you with, Starlight, about what you're feeling frazzled about, please don't hesitate. If you're uncomfortable chatting here, you can send an email to sanetha@sanetha.com, and I'd be glad to reply to your email. Okay, so we can go back a little bit to, I know that many of you are wondering, well, how does she know who she was in a previous lifetime, and how did this book come to her when she had never written before. And I'm very excited to tell you that during the process, I was guided to shop on eBay for a book that I had written in my previous life. I had co-wrote a book. I own it now. I own a vintage copy from 1934, so that's pretty exciting. You will discover by reading the book what my profession was in that lifetime. And I don't actually name the person because I realize that there are people in my previous family who still exist, and I wouldn't want to cause any shock waves. At first, when I found out, they were still writing about me. The people were writing about my book. In fact, my book from that lifetime is updated all the time and is still being used in universities and hospitals today. So there's a hint. It won't surprise you once you realize that my mother, she spent her entire life in and out of these particular offices all her lifetime. So I'm going to read a little bit about Sanetha from one of the pages. It's called Who Am I? And that is my topic. I have several topics that I speak about when Sanetha speaks. And there's a list, I believe, on the website. There are YouTube videos. There's Q&As. There's radio interviews. And this is my first live stream. So this is very exciting. And I hope everything comes out okay. Who am I? This is from page 13. I am Sanetha. And everything I write, there's a hint, and it's deep, it's coded, it's partly for me, and it's also for you. So what I write about me is for you too. I am Sanetha, the third daughter of Eve. My mother's name was Evelyn, by the way. My sole purpose is to bring the knowledge of and ability to live in heaven or paradise on earth. The name Sanetha was given to me from Spirit during the creation of this book. Sanetha is a meld of my name in this life, Annetta Renee, and many names in other lives. I am a spiritual being having another glorious human experience, aren't you? I am a light worker and world server. I am a spiritual, clairsentient healer and interpreter. It is my destiny to bring this information to the planet at this time in history, which has been sealed from blind eyes and deaf ears. As humanity starts to awaken, this message will be there for anyone who is ready just at the right time now. I continue to bring the same message that I have delivered in many lifetimes before. With each incarnation, like me, my message has been returned stronger and better than the time before. During this time in history, the message comes with a new energy, a higher frequency, matching the vibration of the new earth in a way that will change many lives, past, present, and future. I have written on these matters several times before to help you discover your own spiritual truth so that we together can bring Jacob back home again. There are many others who have also come to deliver messages of great importance at this time on earth through books, movies, and other forms of communication that will help the masses who are ready to awaken. Are you one of them? I believe we're getting close to the time, and I'm surprised it went by this fast, but I have up to an hour. And I did have other places that I wanted to read, but I'm getting this strong message from Spirit to talk about forgetfulness. And as it happened, I was to meet with Brother Sean this morning to do some practice stuff earlier this morning. And of course, I wrote it down, because if I don't write things down, I will forget. Of course, you have to remember to read your notes. But I didn't. So I found out when it was too late that I had missed my early appointment with him, and he was gracious enough to come early and help guide me to be here and be here for you today. So my point of this is, Spirit wanted me to bring up that we have forgotten. We have forgotten many things. We get forgetful in this life, but there's a reason for everything. What is it that you have forgotten? Are you missing the messages on your path? They are angels and guides around you every single minute. And they're just dying to talk to you. And if you don't talk to them, if you don't ask them for help, they cannot help you. So if you need help to remember, sit in meditation and ask them for guidance. They can't do it for you. They can only guide you. But they're giving you messages all the time. But don't worry, there's no right. There's no wrong. Whenever it happens, they'll just keep doing it until you finally turn the corner or open the door. It's up to you. You decide everything. Of course, many who are on the path are trying to speed this up. There are all kinds of things coming our way, wonderful things for the awakened, and we need people to wake up so we can help waken up the rest of the world, because the earth has decided to stay, and so there's a new light, a new earth. I'd like to do a segment on healing. I'll be speaking at the university later on this month here in Calgary at Mount Royal University for the religion class. I'm honored to be asked to speak there. And so I would like to do a healing, about healing perhaps on November 25th is when I will be returning to the big screen for Doves for Peace. So invite all of your friends, and if you really liked this show today, please let others know so we can get the message out. There's only a little bit of time left, and of course, I could talk forever. I have so many things to share you, and I am honored to be given this opportunity to share them with you now here on this day. So I want to close this by doing a final reading that I was guided to read this page from page 87. The title won't mean anything to you unless you've read the book. I was guided to discover Elijah early on, and I talk about it in the beginning of the book. And so when I get to page 87, I talk about knowing Elijah. But the first page says, the ability of clairsentient, the gift of knowing, is one of the abilities that I have carried within my personality, part of my DNA blueprint from one lifetime to another. During my awakening, my rebirth into the fifth dimensional energies, the awareness became known. It was part of the divine plan so that I could now write this book about past lives, reincarnation, and the DNA at this exact time in history. My ability to heal myself and others has always been carried with me. In some lifetimes, I was killed just like Jesus and John the Baptist were killed for their abilities. Some people thought because I could heal others and know things that I was a witch. In fact, the same people who received healings from me during that cycle were the same people who reported me and then had me killed. Thanks a bunch, but I forgive you, and I hope you can forgive me too. The battle is not with each other, the battle is within. Imagine you are standing on the bank of the river and everything you need is on the other side. There are obstacles that you will need to overcome before you can even think about building a boat or going in for the big swim. We all have past life experiences that are so painful and so sorrowful. We have blocked the knowledge of them, which is holding you back from your truth. You must become a clear vessel and pure heart. What you have done to others has also been done to you. It is time for forgiveness and for healing. The days of karma are over for those who choose the spiritual transformation. The war is over. And I thank you, and I bid you good night. So if you want to go to the website, sanetha.com, or send me an email at sanetha@sanetha. And we'll see you again on November 25th at the same time. Have a wonderful day. Send you new love and light.